I'm Julie Saunders.
I'm Jan Wilson. Julie and I both have experience as school librarians, and we've worked together as district library leaders.
In each episode, we'll dive into our profession with interviews and meaningful content to inspire you. We're not experts,
But we're pretty close.
The ideas and opinions shared by any host, guest, or listener are their own and do not represent those of any respective school district.
Welcome to Library Exchange.
Does your library's reference section contain high-interest titles that draw kids in and produce large circulation numbers? If not, welcome to Abdo Reference. Abdo Reference includes 3 great imprints that will change how you think about reference and research materials.
Imagine your students checking out high-interest library-bound titles that serve their pleasure reading needs but also do the heavy lifting of instructional support. Abdo Reference is a K-12 solution that can help put your learning dollars to the greatest advantage. Check out Abdo Reference today at abdobooks.com.
Happy New Year, everyone! It's our first episode of 2026, and we're excited to be back for Season 2.
I am super excited to kick off season 2 with this episode, Julie, because this librarian and library kept catching our attention across social media, and spotlighting public libraries and their community partnerships just brings us joy.
And we have the perfect person to talk to about it. Our guest today is Hazel Onsrud, the Adult Services Librarian at the Curtis Memorial Library in Brunswick, Maine. Hazel spearheaded the establishment of the Library of Things to promote sustainability, community sharing, and waste reduction.
So listeners, you better stay tuned because you're going to want to hear about the things in this library. Ooh, gonna wanna. That sounds good. You're gonna wanna. Hazel is absolutely a leader in this movement. Her efforts contributed to the library becoming Maine's first certified sustainable library.
She was named a Library Journal Mover and Shaker in 2024. Her academic background includes a Master of Information Management and Systems and a Master of Science in Energy and Resources.
Oh no. 2 science people against 1. Me. My strength is not science, Hazel. I'll try to keep up, but I may need a whiteboard for this.
You'll be fine, Jan.
Okay.
Hazel, thank you for joining us on Library Exchange.
Thank you both. I'm honored to be here.
To start us off, could you paint a picture of the Curtis Memorial Library for our listeners? What is the community like in Brunswick, and what kind of population size does your library serve?
Our community is lovely. You should all come visit and see how delightful it is for yourselves. But we are considered a small library nationally and internationally. We serve about 25,000 humans in our region. We're right on the coast of Maine. So you imagine a bunch of fingers of land sticking off into the ocean. That's where we are. We serve Brunswick and Harpswell, and then anyone's welcome to come on in, and you should join.
So, Hazel, you came to the Curtis Memorial Library with some previous experience having co-founded the Maine Tool Library. I hope I have that right. What sparked the idea for you to move this concept into the public library system?
Well, I might be the only one chatting this evening with y'all, but the reality is right, it's always a team. It's always multiple teams doing this. So when we co-founded the Tool Library in Portland, it was a group of us who thought, gosh, we think we should have one of these. And, the community thought so too. So together we made it happen, right? Don't discount the person walking down the street being like, no, you know what? I'll donate this. And another person being like, hey, I have an extra saw. I'll give that to you. I mean, this is how the stuff is made, right? And that's how it's curated and continually updated. Especially as you folks know, as librarians, we listen so hard to our patrons. So if a patron comes in and says something, that voice really matters, and we're going to listen to that. And even if we have to say no, like, oh, we don't think we should lend that, we'll have a good reason why. And usually, in fact, now we have whole handouts where we send you to other places. We send you back, oh, we don't lend that, but this local person does. So, and this is why. So it's the same thing at Curtis Memorial Library. We have a bunch of local needs, like any community in the world, and we want to meet those needs in a way that's appropriate for our community. And our community that ends up needs a bunch of tools beyond books. So we thought, hey,
Ah,
let's do this.
So you
great.
started this library of things in 2018. Can you give us a sense of its scale today? How many circulating items and maybe some examples of items in the collection?
Yeah, so we have always kind of had a library of things, and I think that's an important thing to note because most libraries do. You're already doing this, right? You don't have to be, as cool as we were and start in a network closet. Maybe you're out on the floor or something in the real world. But you're probably already lending stuff beyond books, right? Maybe it's something more standard like DVDs. Maybe it's spaces. Maybe you have like one microscope. Great, you have a
Mm.
library of things. We gave the date of 2018 because that was when we really started drastically expanding into stuff that folks thought was a little odd. To be fair, we do a lot of odd things at libraries. I don't think that's going to be unusual for any of us, but this one, we were looking at the community needs, as I said, and we were partnering with local folks who were trying to address those needs. So, for example, one was, food insecurity.
Mm.
And another one was, loneliness and folks wanting to come together in a community, maybe connecting with neighbors in a way that they hadn't traditionally. So we actually looked at crafts as an avenue for that. You'd be surprised at how many folks will get together over a craft program. And maybe they vote differently, maybe they have different lifestyles, but they'll come on in for that craft program. Same thing with food. Ends up folks like food most of the time and
Mhm.
and uh, you can bond over all sorts of different things. So we found that those were two good options for us for starting to build out our collection. So we really expanded our craft materials and our food materials.
So that speaks directly to your quote from Library Journal, Hazel, about how libraries have the amazing potential to scale equitable, climate friendly actions. I think a question that many of our listeners are wondering about, especially with such a diverse collection, is how do you manage the upkeep and the knowledge of your collection? And does someone on your staff have to be an expert, in the ice cream maker or the wood chipper, for example?
It's a great question. So first off, as delightful as you folks are, I could talk to you all day long about kind of some of these nuances, but we do in a way because we have a lot mutual aid group where we answer a lot of these like, are you sure? How do you get it clean? From all over. So and that's really great
Mm.
because then it's not just, my team's wisdom and they have a lot of it. They convinced me to laminate things when I didn't think we should laminate. I was wrong. They were right but but they were able there to answer a lot of these. And so, as far as maintaining this collection, so this collection purposely is unique in that it meets more sustainability goals that we have as a library. But even if your library doesn't have those goals, it has some goals, right? And so you can have a library of things collection that meets those goals. And so, for example, we don't have, our general rule is we don't want to lend hate. We don't want to lend
Mm.
dangerous germs. We don't want to lend underwear. So, but within that, beyond that, we'll think about a lot of other things that we could lend. So we'll really think it through. And of course, there's more
Yeah.
nuances than that, but it really lets us keep an open mind to say, why wouldn't we provide that at our library? But the reality is libraries already do so much that you really do have to be careful about what you can manage and maintain. And so what we do is, yes, we do fix things. I am one of the fixers. My friend John is one of the fixers. But most importantly, we have a repair cafe as well. And so we actually have volunteer tool doctors who come in and now fix our library of things as well. So that's part of this conversation. And I encourage everyone who has a library of things to also cultivate that repair community.
Can I just say one thing? I have a follow up with that. So it sounds like you've customized it for your community. What are some of the most popular items for your community?
Yeah, so it depends on the season, it depends on the day and kind of stats. I have whole presentations where I really geek out on this, but
Okay.
because we love that as librarians. But there's some
Yes.
things that, for example, are really popular but cost us very, very little, or even when it wouldn't
Oh,
cost you if you were starting a library of things. It wouldn't monetary, the cost wasn't much. So something like a poppet, which is like that reusable silicone
mm,
bubble wrap. Basically, it's like the reusable, and so
yes.
that had was very inexpensive. In fact, for us, it was free. But even if you had purchased it, it wouldn't have been very much. And it was interesting to see how many people use it. They use it for kind of dementia folks. If you're visiting a
Yes.
friend in a nursing home, you use it for math problems. You use it because it's a cool toy, and maybe you didn't have one at your house, but you always wanted to try it. So something like that was really interesting. But then you have other objects like a power washer, which it was electric and might be more expected. You couldn't rent one locally easily at the time when we got ours at first. Now you can, but at the time that wasn't an option. So that was also really popular. Another thing that was really popular was our worm casting bin,
Wait.
where
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
we had a worm what was it?
hotel,
Oh,
a
t
worm
okay.
hotel.
Okay, wait,
yeah,
but wait about let's hear this.
yeah.
Let's hear this.
Yeah, so we ran workshops on how to make your own worm bins and keep your worms happy for years and years. And as part of that, though, you want to be able to collect the garden gold they give you, or the worm castings. But that's kind of a bulky thing that you only use once, every once in a while. So that worm casting kit now is housed at the library and it goes out all the time.
Oh my goodness, I would never have guessed any of those things.
That's a lot easier than taking care of my sister's dog, it sounds like. Um,
Oh,
and
wait, Jan, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask a follow-up again, can I? So, can we just talk about library logistics
Yeah.
for some of those items? Because we always need practical tips. When we first spoke with you, not on this recording, you hit on a crucial point that
mhm,
packaging and aesthetics matter.
mhm.
What's your best advice for packaging and labeling for these items that you lend?
Yeah, again, we have a lot of advice from pickier people than I on this. Because I was like, why can't we just have a bucket in the library with a bunch of tools? And ends up that is at one, the bucket could fall over. There's a lot of considerations. So with this, and again, I was wrong. The team was right. So getting the as many people's opinions, I think, as possible is really important when you're designing something. Folks are coming into the library for all sorts of different reasons. So some it's is a relaxing spot, but that what's relaxing to me may be different than what's relaxing to you. I think safety is really paramount too. I think so. Safety, making sure nothing heavy is going to hurt anyone. We keep anything with a blade, with any sharps. Those are all kept in a basement area versus out on the shelves. As you can imagine, like having a broad fork or oyster knives or something out on the shelves might not be the best idea. So safety is the primary consideration, but also having clear plastic bins that you can see the item through, actually letting it be on the shelves so people can play with it. That's really important to us, but it doesn't have to be for every library. There's perfectly wonderful libraries of things where everything is hidden away and you just see a picture of the item.
A picture, yeah.
And now a word from our sponsors.
It's time to talk about our friends at Kids Discover. They're an award winning educational publisher that's been a favorite among students and school librarians for over 3 decades.
Their digital learning platform, Kids Discover Online, is a game changer for elementary and middle schoolers by providing access to thousands of science, social studies, and nonfiction articles.
And unlike other databases in the market, Kids Discover Online's modern interface is highly visual. It actually gets kids excited about reading and learning.
Plus, it's built for every student. We're talking multiple reading levels, translations in 28 languages, and a fully accessible interface for all learners.
You can actually get 60 days of trial access for your entire school right now by visiting kidsdiscover.com/digital. Earlier, what I was going to say, when you refer to the Lot Mutual Aid Group, the LOT, look how smart I am. That's Library of Things. But that was not just for me, for our listeners
No.
too. But so you've seen items checked out for a purpose you've said like entirely different from maybe why you acquired them. So do you
Yeah.
have a favorite example or a story demonstrating how the Library of Things has helped a patron?
Oh gosh. I mean, if you want positive feedback, I mean, libraries usually get a lot of positive feedback, right? Because we're
Yeah.
this communal space, we do so many things. But the reason the Library of Things has grown is because people love it. And
Mhm.
it is making a huge difference in their lives. I have had folks come up to me and tell me that it's kept them in their apartment this month, that it saved them money on, they were able to process food. They were able to go out, grab apples, grab nuts, use our nutcrackers, use our apple processing equipment, dehydrate that, and have food that would have just gone to waste likely in our community that then they were able to process and use to feed their family. Um, it is yes, that is sometimes what we intended it for, but I didn't necessarily know that that same dehydrator would be used to make dog treats for a dog who had a really
Oh.
specific, needs at the end of
Mhm.
his life. Or that same
Hmm.
dehydrator would then be used to teach a classroom about how to eat the rainbow. So you just can't picture all of the
Mhm.
uses of these items.
Yeah, you
Wow.
can't make this stuff up. That's great. Those are great stories. You could write
Yeah.
a
So,
book. You could write a book.
absolutely. When we spoke before recording, you mentioned your concept for the future of sharing, moving from lending a thing to lending an experience. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so this is something great that libraries again are already doing. We're just kind of getting together now and branding things differently. For example, a lot of libraries already lend museum passes. And so
Mm.
you go the concept is you go to a library, you pick up a pass, and then that pass lets you and usually a few more members of your family, however you define family, to that museum,
Mhm.
either for free or severely discounted. Now, what if instead of just having a pass to the local library, what if you had a pass to the local art museum? What if you had a pass to a local service of another type? What if it was like a local kayak rental place or a local theater company or a local bike share? Well, we're doing that. So
Love that.
here in Brunswick, we have a pass now called the Maine Gear Share pass, and you can pick up a pass at our library, and then you trot down the street for 8 minutes away, and you can go and instead of renting all the equipment you need to go canoeing or go snowshoeing or go skating, you can just borrow all the stuff for free. So and
Wow.
that's shoes in multiple sizes, that's canoes, that's stuff that we couldn't store easily in our library, primarily because, yes, space, of course, is an issue, but primarily because we don't have the laundry facilities. And again,
Mhm.
health and safety first. And
Yes.
they do. They have those facilities. So by partnering with them, we're creating a sharing ecosystem that works for our community. And the sharing ecosystem could work differently. Maybe in a different community, you want surfboards, or maybe you need a toy library there. Well, your library doesn't have to have that. Maybe that's better off in the basement of a local religious organization.
Mhm.
Great. Then they could do that and you could cooperate with them. And so that's this type of sharing economy that libraries can be a key component of, but we can't do everything, right? So you
Yeah.
get to choose what works for your community.
So I'm not sure if I asked this earlier, but I wanted to know how many items do you have in the adult collection? How many actual items?
Yeah, well, so this is where I'm always lying to people in the sense of I'm never quite getting the number right because it changes every day. Again, because it's meant to be a dynamic collection.
Mhm.
So we have items that you would consider library of things in the children's area. We have libraries of things in the teen area. Those are like the really cool board games. And then we have libraries of things in what would be known as the adult area. But of course,
Okay.
children and teens can check out some of those. And so the adult area is a couple thousand items. By items, I mean something as small as a crochet hook and something, as
Hmm.
large as a bonfire stove.
Hey, Julie, is it okay with you if I ask a question?
Yes. Sorry, it's just so interesting.
Um, so what happens if something is returned not working or damaged? Is there any responsibility on the patron's part?
Yeah, so it depends. So we usually have a conversation. So we just treat people like
Mhm.
people. These are all part of our
Yeah.
community. It's the same thing as if they bring back a library book. Well, if it has some new chew marks in it that were never there before, and they have a new puppy, and we can't read it anymore, and they say, our new household member got to this. We'll keep the book, but we'll pay you for it. Then we're like, okay, that might be a good decision. But if for the library of things, usually it's something like, "Ooh, this broke." And we
Mm.
looked at it and the thing has been, it was donated to us to begin with. It's nearing the end of its life and we're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And they're like, "Yes,
Mm.
we're fine, but we're sad it broke." And we're like, "Well, we are too, but, it had a good life and we'll get a new one. We'll figure this out." And
Oh, okay.
other times, it's something where they're like, "I was naughty. I put something in it I shouldn't do." And we're like,
Oh.
"Okay, well, what do you wanna do about that?" They're like, "I'd
Okay.
like to donate to the library today." And we're
Huh.
like, "Okay, well, that's wonderful." Because again, we're all in this community together. This is a community resource. So really, folks they're coming out from everywhere to donate to this, and we're so
Yeah, that's
grateful. I would have never thought of this fancy ice cream maker that showed up on my desk the other day, but great. We'll put it in the collection. If it goes out, it goes out, and if not, we give anything that doesn't go out to another library and help them start and continue their library collections.
I love all of this,
Me
all
too.
of it.
Well, you wanna know something that is a good part that any library can do? Any library can do a library of things, but this has been really great because we don't do
Yeah, because
consumables
that
in our
was
library
Julie's
of
next
things.
question.
It was
Julie's next
actually
Ah!
question.
Jean's
Yeah.
next question, but I can
Ah!
ask it. We want the advice that you could give to another library that would wanna start this.
Well, the first thing is to care about your community needs. So, that they're doing already. They're a public library. I don't know a single public or academic or school library. I don't know a
Mhm.
single library that isn't there working with community needs. The second thing is join us. Join the Lot Mutual Aid Group. We're here to help. And I mean by we want you to copy everything that's useful. Our tags that we used, I made a tag. It was really ugly, but then some folks in New Hampshire made a prettier one. We're like, oh, we're going to adapt that. We share all the Canva files for it so you don't have to recreate the wheel. We're all here just trying to level each other up. And when we learn about something like a new cool Lego sorter that someone's never heard of, we get advice from the list and someone says, "Oh, I love that. And also I love this new nutcracker that you should all get."
Oh.
So this is the type of thing where we can all really help each other. For example, some people include consumables in their kit. And what I mean by that is if you have like a leather working kit, you have leather in it. Or if you have a stone carving kit, you include stone. Well, we don't do that at our library. But what we did instead is we have a swap cart. And so every Tuesday we have free food, vegetables, and that come in from local farms and fruit that would have been left in the field, but we have volunteers who go pick them. We have free art supplies, just a cart, nothing fancy. It came out of that same network closet I was just telling you about, where a cart comes out and it's full of art supplies that folks didn't want to use, so they donate them, and then so folks could get some and take some. That worked so well. We started with home supplies. So you know those nails you might have in your basement or extra bolts or screw that you're like, it was supposed to I think I
Mhm.
was supposed to use it, but I didn't. And so it just sits there in your basement, right? Thinking I should use this sometime. Well, now, and our local folks, Habitat for Humanity, Goodwill, they don't want that stuff. So they now we have a cart for that. So you can come to the library on Tuesday
Wow.
and get any of that hardware stuff. Maybe you want a brackets to hang up something. We probably have it for free. And it's great because then you can go to the hardware store for stuff you need. And we love our local hardware stores, just like we love our local bookstores. But it doesn't mean you don't need to have a library too.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this is the way that, again, we're all in this together and it's just kind of a waste not, want not. And again, you can go get your stuff repaired at the repair cafe. So we're all just working together on this. And we have handouts where you can copy this stuff and show, what works for your community. There's a community in Minnesota, it's all about cake pans, right? There they've got so many bakers. Well, we tried to have that many cake pans. Well, not that many. We tried to have more cake pans and they just didn't go out. So we gave them away to other libraries. So, 5 cake pans is good for our community, but that's okay. We're all going to
Mhm.
be different.
In
Mm.
the words of Buzz Lightyear, this is like to infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could just keep going with all
Mhm.
of these stories. But Hazel, if a librarian is interested in learning more about the Library of Things, is there a website or someone they can reach out to for more info?
Yeah, I'm happy to take questions, and then more clever people than I are behind me and on this Lot Mutual Aid group. And if you are not a official library, maybe you're outside the official library system, great. We want you too, but I have even better resources for you. So Shareable also has a website and a toolkit, and we'll refer you to those on that Lot Mutual Aid webpage. Again, we're all building this world together, and we need you as a part of it.
So do they just use the keywords lot mutual aid?
If you put up Library of Things Mutual Aid Group, it's a Google group. You can join the listserv, and that's where all the chatter happens. But you can get a digest. But the Lot Mutual Aid group is a website, which we could link from this podcast.
Wow, Hazel, this has been so enjoyable to learn more about this library of things. I really think a lot of
Mhm.
librarians are going to want to take you up on that offer of
Woohoo!
joining the group because it's really so beneficial for your community. It's just incredible.
Thank you both so much for everything you're doing for the community. And it was my absolute pleasure to be on here. Go team.
Julie, we exchanged ideas. It's time for the recap. I'm going to let you go first.
All right, sounds good. So Hazel reminds us that any good library program flourishes with teamwork. Most libraries have quote unquote things that they provide access to, but this library of things concept is intentional in providing access to items that are customized for the community, things
Hmm.
that are food or craft related, and other things that are essential for that particular community, like wood chippers.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about what would be the popular items in our community, because everyone's
Yeah.
different. I looked at the Curtis Memorial Library of Things collection. There are items, like you said, like hedge trimmers and electronic drum kits. Um,
Cool.
yeah, and then I went to the mutual aid website, and I hope people go there because one, I found out that there are roughly 2,000 established library of things worldwide, and there's an interactive map so you can see where they are, and we really need to get this happening in more places. There's not a lot in the South compared to the Northeast.
So, some things that she offered up that people may not think through before jumping right into a library of things are things like maintenance and
Hmm.
repair, how to maintain the items as librarians, and the packaging and labeling. So, one of the tips that she gave that was really crucial was if something's very large or it's unsafe, that they would just have a photo or a graphic on a shelf so that patrons could easily see it and be able to still check out that item, even though it's stored in a different location.
I think she mentioned whatever it's called to open oysters, you wouldn't want those
Yeah,
sitting
no, you wouldn't.
sitting
You
on the
would definitely
shelf.
not. So I love the idea also of providing passes for experiences, not just the traditional cultural passes like museums. She'd mentioned the kayak pass where you could go to the local business down the road with a partner and actually rent for free a
Mhm.
kayak. And also other things like bicycles using those business partners in the community. She called that a sharing economy. I love that term. Things in this sharing economy were available for children and adults.
Yeah, it's very cool. Those experience passes blew my mind. But I want to go back to the physical items, and I'm going to call it in the lots, the library of things. So, for our school librarians, I want you to think about how could you give this a go? Maybe start with your faculty. It's just an
Yeah,
idea, Julie.
good tip.
So, think about items people purchase for an event or a party that they've only used once, like a chocolate fountain comes to
Yeah,
mind,
great
or
idea.
cupcake stands. Help me out here,
Or
Julie.
an ice sculpture mold.
That's a story that may take its own episode, but that's a
Yep.
good one. Um,
Absolutely.
but like, why should 30 teachers in the school own a hot glue gun? Stupid
Exactly.
example, but label makers. So build community with your faculty.
Yep, for sure. So, every single person that we have interviewed over the past year has provided a new perspective on a program or a learning activity. But the thing that has been consistent with every single guest is the power of relationships and partnerships. I can't wait to see how this Library of Things concept continues to grow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you said grow because speaking of growing, do we want to mention that in this, our first episode of season 2, Hazel shared information about worms, specifically.
I mean, it's crazy. We've talked about worms twice in the last 7 months. Who
Yeah.
knew?
Yeah. So, I didn't process it at the time that worm castings is worm poop, uh, I'm going to take this as a good luck sign, Julie, since Sarah Sansbury talked about it last year.
Worm
And
hotels.
yes. Okay. But back to my librarian hat, I looked up something about worm castings.
Okay.
They're odorless. Well, they're
Okay.
so small, really, anyway, and they're shaped like a football.
Wow.
I don't know. You'll never forget that.
No, I won't ever
yeah.
forget that.
So how's that for the recap, everyone? Have a great week, and please tune in for our next episode on February 9th. Our guest is a librarian in La La Land. That's Los Angeles. See ya. This episode is sponsored by Gladys Autry with Mackin Educational Resources.
For over 40 years, Mackin has provided kindergarten through 12th grade libraries and classrooms with access to over 4 million titles and makerspace resources with exceptional customer service.
For more information, visit mackin.com today.
Make sure to visit our website at www.libraryexchangepodcast.com.
You'll find episode notes and links. You can even submit your questions or inspiring stories that may be featured on the podcast.
If you're looking for some swag for your library or book-loving friends, visit libraryexchange.etsy.com.
That's a lot of URLs, so I'm glad you had to say all of that, Julie.
Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to have you back for our next episode of Library Exchange.